The headlines started out slowly. There were whispers around our building that we might close in the coming weeks if the coronavirus came to Wisconsin. By March 13th, our district professional development day was canceled. It was supposed to be focusing on the diverse needs of learners and equity. We had to cancel because schools around the country and state were closing, and we were not prepared. While other teachers stayed home, our technology team connected via Google Hangouts from about 4 buildings around the district and began planning for a short-term move to online learning. As the librarian and tech integrator at the high school, I realized our staff would need a bunch of support to convert their mostly traditional lecture and discussion styles to something more sustainable for our staff and students in an online environment. Our school changed overnight, and so did my focus project for this course. KQED, a West Coast public media company, posted an article April 6th that called for 4 key priorities in what they called trauma-informed distance learning: flexibility, predictability, connection, and empowerment. Students and families need a simple, easy to access and understand format, simple schedules, and a reasonable pace for instruction. Students have limited internet access, sometimes have trouble getting materials, and older students are often caring for younger siblings while parents are trying to work. So flexible schedules and flexible deadlines are really important. We are in this together. Teachers and schools need to keep and foster relationships and build community with parents and students. Finally, they talked about empowerment. They want teachers and schools to drop any kind of power struggle, don't assign fake or busy work, and allow for different paths for students to show their learning. Coincidentally, my principal has been calling distance learning crisis learning since the day we started planning. A few weeks earlier, ISTE published its recommendations for the quick switch to virtual learning. They said flexibility is the key. Teachers should focus on the most important learning goals. Instruction should not try to look like our face-to-face classrooms. We need to provide access to all students, not just Wi-Fi and devices, but learning should be multimodal to include video, text, music, images, and even games. They also said that we should remember that remote learning is people-driven, not device-driven, and not every assignment needs to be online. Our district aligned with these 2 sets of ideas. We cut our curriculum in at least half. We posted a student recommended schedule to include 30 minutes of reading, 30 minutes of physical activity, 30 minutes of social emotional connection, and no more than 60 minutes of academics, including lectures and assignments. The district asked teachers to use Zoom and other video conferencing tools for connection and not for instruction. All instruction must be videotaped and/or have step-by-step written instructions so students can easily stop and start lessons. Lesson overviews are posted with links on the district's distance learning website. To eliminate some student stress, all courses went to pass-fail. And finally, our teachers are asked to provide feedback instead of grades on assignments as they are turned in. When looking at the academic research, I started by looking at best practices for online learning. In 2011, Kerr published several articles on this topic. The tips, tools, and techniques for teaching an online high school classroom outlined the need for multimodal content, feedback, authentic assignments, and student engagement. The second article talked deeply about peer-to-peer communication and connection. Moving forward, I read an article titled Active Learning, Engaging Students to Maximize Learning in an Online Course. They outlined the 6 steps for designing quality online instruction. They said start by building a community, outline student expectations, make sure they know the tools they will need and how to use them, use online tools and take full advantage of what the internet has to offer, promote idea sharing and develop discussions and other ways for students to communicate, provide frequent and timely feedback. Finally, keep your instruction student-centered. Allow student choice and multiple ways for them to show their knowledge. The next step in my research was to look at the roles of librarians in this changing online environment. An article titled Designer Librarian outlines the roles of librarians. They need to bring their content and knowledge outside the library and embed themselves in courses and departments. This means curating and promoting quality resources based on individual content, also providing just-in-time literacy skills, and finally, connecting and collaborating with instructors around the building. The second article, School Librarians Fully Online, Preparing the 21st Century Professional, outlines the needs for better college preparatory classes and specific courses for helping librarians who support online learning. Finally, online learning in the K-12 and higher education and the library professional outlined the shifting roles of librarians, from curating and supplying resources to becoming collaborators and co-instructors. Librarians need training in content management systems, web-based tools, adaptive and assistive technology, and support copyright and institutional policy. I want to talk a little bit about how I applied what I learned in my focus research to supporting our school as we move to crisis or distance learning. I want to quickly show you a few things I created based on my research. I was instrumental in getting all of our materials online and linking them through a Google site. This is the high school site. This is the main page where students come each day to get the daily announcements, any updates from our administration. They can check the schedule, get any of the specifics on what we're doing for distance learning, and finally connect to all the individual course pages. I helped staff set up their page and taught them how to edit and add lessons. I also hosted several Zoom professional developments. We recorded one as we went through the resources that were available and the help that we could provide. We talked a little bit about flipped lessons, how to integrate and create active student learning experiences, how to capture themselves in video, great open source resources and how to use them, also our paid for resources. We gave specific and step-by-step instructions for the different media tools. Provided instruction on simple feedback tools. Talked about what online discussion could look like and provided sentence stems. And looked at additional trainings and articles. Additionally, I linked many of these pages to the resources I've already created for the high school. I am lucky to work with teachers and have a pretty solid insight to their instruction. For example, I have always created resource pages for classes and specific assignments. So I did add to some of these as we moved to online instruction. Thanks for watching, and I enjoyed the semester with you all.